Small Change by Frank Lettres. This is the world we live in. As much as we would like to think that there are alternatives, the stark and simple truth is that there aren't. This is it. No other planet out there is conveniently located within the habitable zone of a nurturing parent star, full of air to breathe, water to drink, or full of life. I have been accustomed to complain about the British weather. This is something you do habitually if you live on these islands. It's as British as tea in the afternoon, or cucumber sandwiches at Buckingham Palace on a pleasant mid-afternoon in spring. However, recently I have been taken aback by the change in the local climate. Wandering around the lush green countryside of Surrey, I have noticed non-indigenous flora is in the ascendancy, and this frightens me. I have recently seen fig trees full of ripening figs, quince trees also laden with the yellow bitter fruit, banana trees in full bloom, several date palms, and most worrying of all, several passion fruit plants full to the brim of the distinct orangey coloured fruit almost ready to pick and eat. Please don't get me wrong. I am not on an anti-foreign plant kick, or pretending to have any special interest in horticulture. The reason for my dismay is simple. I didn't come across these plants whilst visiting some special tropical garden protected by expensively run greenhouses or special plant nurseries. These trees and plants are growing out in the open in perfectly ordinary English gardens, and that to me points directly to a steady but dramatic change in the climate. None of the above mentioned plants should be able to survive, much less adapt to the British weather, and yet they are thriving. A small percentage rise in local air temperature, almost imperceptible to the grumbling populace, is enough to have tropical plants growing out of the ground in Woking or Chertsey in the heart of Surrey. Why should this matter? It matters because it is concrete and irrefutable proof of climate change. I may not talk to the trees, but I sure as heck am listening to what they're trying to tell me. Global warming, climate change, greenhouse effect, CO2 emissions, all these are catchphrases that have always evoked in me visions of dishevelled demonstrators living in communes, getting drunk or stoned at every available opportunity. What they didn't evoke were visions of the irreversible decline in the ecology of my home planet, our only home. The call for change in attitude has been made before many times, and the lone voice crying out in a silly little radio show won't amount to much. But if every single one of us commits to change just one thing, be it to start recycling, to walk a little more to reduce carbon emissions, to use more environmentally friendly products or services, if every one of us changes just one thing, it can have an effect. Everything we do has an effect. I'm not trying to change the world. That is my point. I want to keep it. I want to believe that generations of my descendants will still live here, survive here, procreate here, beneath these crystal blue skies. And as I sit in the shade of this fig tree, with the palm fronds fluttering gently in the cool but not cold breeze, I know that one change, a small, almost imperceptible change, can make a noticeable difference. Frank Lettres, 20th September 2012.